You know you could be financing more pool construction projects if your customers had easier access to funds. The potential to increase your number of pool sales would go up dramatically if you could find a way to make that happen. Viking Capital has been helping pool builders connect their customers with the funds they need to build their dream backyard for over 20 years. A reliable and trusted financing partner in the pool industry, we're working with some of the leading builders in the nation to provide their customers with more approvals, lower interest rates, and larger loan amounts. Great communication is also what sets us apart. Our loan status software gives builders real-time reporting on their finance projects. Providing transparency and taking the mystery out of that process is a big part of why we're the partner of choice for pool builders from coast to coast. Want a better financing solution? Schedule a consultation with a Viking Capital representative today.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast. Today I'm chatting with industry insider Lee Russell. Lee, it's been a couple years since we had you on the show. Some transitions in your life since our last conversation. I know you were Russell Pool Company for a long time, that you were the owner of that company for quite a few years. And now you're working as a consultant with Great American Waterfall. And now you're the director of sales there. So a lot going on in your professional life.
Yeah, a lot of changes. My grandfather started Russell Pool Company in the 60s, 1965 to be exact. And so being a third generation pool builder, it's always been something that kind of just runs in my blood. I love pools. And my wife laughs at me when I go to vacations. She'll find me in the equipment room at the resort, scoping out what's in there. It's just like, if you're in the industry, you get it. You understand exactly when I say that. It just runs in your blood. But so, I've been doing this for so long. And my partner in the company was my uncle. He was 65, approaching retirement. He was ready to get out. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to buy him out, or do we transition to something different? My wife and I, Monica, we're both in our mid 40s. All of our kids are out of the house now. We're empty nesters. And so we thought, hey, if we're going to make a big transition, do something different, now would be the time. And so we started looking for an exit strategy, and we put our construction and service firm on the market a couple of years ago. And as fate would have it, I built a relationship with Chris Walton of Great American Waterfall. He and I became good friends in 2021 when I put my first Zero Edge on, and we kept in contact for the last couple of years, and we would speak maybe once a month, once every other month, and just keeping the friendship. We both had a mutual respect for each other and our pool knowledge and what we have done in the past and the way we see the industry going. And it was a conversation that he and I had last summer, and he could tell I was antsy and there was something I wanted to make changes. He could sense that, and he asked, "Hey man, just out of the blue, would you be interested in joining us at Great American?" And I think he was surprised at first, to be honest with you, when I said, yeah, I could definitely consider it, because he had joked about it and hinted about it in years past, us working together. And it was just at the right moment, at the right time. I'm in the right headspace and looking for something different, looking for a transition. And he, asked at the right time. And it was very fortunate for me, because a lot of guys in small businesses, they don't get the opportunity to sell and then to jump into something right out the gate, particularly in what they love to do. Like I said, he was surprised. Great American was very gracious to me. They let me finish out all of last year with Russell Pool, close some of the projects I had going there as well. Let me come on with them as a consultant. And then in January of this year, I came on as the director of sales with the intent of bringing Great American to a more nationwide selling of our products in certain ways. We are very strong in Florida. We're based here, so we have been for many years. We're very strong in the Texas market as well. But when we start getting a little bit further out, shipping costs have always been an issue for us. We manufacture here in Central Florida. When I've got to ship something to LA, it gets pricey. And sometimes we kind of price ourselves out because of shipping. We're working on some of that and trying to get things situated where we can do a better job at that. But our intent was to get our standard products a little bit more widespread, and then also drive in some of our newer products and our newer innovations. We've got a lot of things in R&D right now. We've got the Zero Edge product that has been out for several years now that I, as a builder, put it on and love the product. And I was absolutely sold on that product. And I sell it all the time, every day. I do Zooms every single day with builders across the country asking questions about it. And then also we've got some new products and spouts that are different, that we're being innovative and trying to help our builders in our industry to be able to do some really cool projects that they haven't been able to do in the past.
I appreciate your
Thank you.
candor on the subject there, Lee, because I feel like I would have been remiss if other pool builders and guys who know you would be listening to this podcast and then just being like, why didn't they cover that? And why did he make that transition to Great American Waterfall? So I appreciate you just touching base with us on that particular subject. I know that you're gung-ho into the director of sales position. I wanted to know a little bit more about the zero edge system and a couple of other of your products. So I figured you're the perfect guy to talk to now to provide us a little bit of an overview of Great American Waterfalls products. Can you explore that with us a little bit and talk about what's in that product lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. So Great American Waterfall was started in 2003 by a gentleman named Ben Dixon. We are now run by his son, Aaron. Ben passed away a few years ago, and Aaron has stepped in as our CEO, and he runs the family company for us now. But our technology, our shear technology, has been the backbone of everything that we've done. We do shears a little different on the internals, and I'll talk about that a little bit further. All of our products are based, with the exception of the zero edge, are based off the shear technology that we have. And so whether it's the shear fall or our shear rains, our shear storm, we do have a product called Wave, which makes the water roll out up a little bit and roll out. All of them are based off the same shear technology. It's just different iterations of how we get that water and what it looks like as we shape it coming to the pool. We started spouts around 2004 or 5. A lot of guys, particularly been in this industry for a long time, know the name David Tischerman.
Sure.
He came the Tish ways. That was a way to move water from a raised hot tub in some ways into a lower pool basin. That was kept it clean, kept it consolidated, make a nice laminar flow there. Chris Walton had an idea of using our materials, the ABS materials, way back then, and brought it to the Dixon family, and so they started building spouts in 2003. That has transitioned even further to we have some spout pros now that we have taken it to a next level with the spouts. And then I guess our last product, and the one that I'm probably the most gung-ho on, is our zero edge product. It is a unit built product that we are allow the builder to build a zero edge or a knife edge system, an exotic edge system. That is it's more cost efficient, it's more time efficient. The way that we have designed this system, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of that edge for a builder.
The Great American Zero Edge system offers that aesthetic appeal of the Lautner Edge, a fraction of the cost.
Correct, it does.
Could you elaborate
Yeah.
on the design and the installation advantages that make this system more accessible to builders and homeowners?
Yes, I will. So it does save you money. Yes, you're going to save somewhere between 20 and 30% in the cost savings of the product, just in the fact that there are many ways to build the Lautner Edge. There is not one best way. I have seen it done probably 5 or 6 different methods, and probably the one that most guys use now outside of our system is to use a stainless steel plate to hold up their stones as they cantilever across the trough. That's one way to do it, but that's not the best way. That stainless steel comes pricey because it's expensive. Not only that is when you start using metals like that, you've got issues with electrical, whereas you have to bond and ground it. You've got issues with it galvanizing and potentially failing down the road. Even stainless steel is not stain-free steel. So at some point it's going to rust if it gets scratched or damaged in any way. Any weld points are going to fail over time. Whereas with our product, there's no metal in it. It's chemically inert. It's a dense material that can handle the pressures that are being placed upon it by either water or gravity pushing down onto it. So yes, you're going to save money because our system does cost you less than stainless steel plates and cost you less than having to shoot the dam wall as it is. There is money involved in it, yes, but for me, that's not what sold it as a builder. Yeah, I could save some money, but the reality is most of the exotic edges are on higher end pools anyway. My clients didn't have a concern on the cost. I had a concern as a builder, how much detail, how much time is it going to take me? How many times am I going to have to be on this job holding the hands of my crews to make sure it's done? Most guys, if they do 5 in their career Lautner edges, that's a pretty good number. That's not something that the Lautner edge is not an edge that gets done often. And with our system, it can be done a lot quicker. It can be done a lot more efficiently. You can save some money, yes, but to me, that's not the huge savings in it. It's me not having to be up as a builder all night wondering if something's going to fail on it or if something is being done properly by my crews. And just that peace of mind is what kind of sold it with me. When I did a Zoom with Chris back in 2020, when I was doing my first zero edge system with him.
I appreciate you walking through some of the feature cost benefits of that with us. I know I touched base on some of this with you when we went to the job site together in Cameron Park, where you had me come out and take a look at one of the zero edge systems that we're going in.
Yeah. Let me say this too as well with our system. Our system, we call it a zero edge instead of a Lautner edge. We show design pictures of it a little different than a true Lautner edge. If we go back and look how that was originally designed, it's a true point, a vertical point that is coming to a knife edge, a clean edge. And then the coping, of course, is mitered to marry up to it. With our system, you can still do a true Lautner edge, but we show our shop drawings with a little bit of different of a detail than that, particularly because that detail is very difficult to build. It takes a very good mechanic to get those pieces of stone cut just right at the right angles and the right placement, as well as it takes a lot of time and extra effort to get that coping just right at that same angle. We will show in our designs, if you do a Zoom with us and you saw it on the job site, we'll do a design that we use a piece of 3 cm granite on a vertical. So the water's rolling over that 3 cm granite into the trough. And because we use that granite and show that detail, we're able to save a lot of time and some of the stress as well for a builder because they don't have to miter that coping anymore. We're able to elevate that granite up just enough so the coping marries straight to it without the miter. Saves a little time, some money there for sure as well on that. But sometimes I think there's a lot of confusion in the terminology. We call it a zero edge because technically it's not a true Lautner edge. It can be. We do have some clients that use our material as a true Lautner edge. They'll use our dams and then use our mounting plates to hold the stone. You can absolutely do it the same way as you've always done to get that cleaner edge. But as our system, as you sit into our Zooms and you hear us talk about it, if you see pictures of it, you'll notice it's a little different than the way John Lautner designed it that first time all those years ago. I just wanted to clear that up too, and maybe help our listeners understand that a knife edge, a Lautner edge are the same. Yes, a zero edge can be. We like to call them all exotic edges. That kind of encompasses all of those, whether it's a zero or a Lautner or a knife or a negative or vanishing or infinity. They're exotic. They're something different. They're unique. I like to use that term exotic whenever we start talking about these edges.
You got another one in there, the turf edge. Now that product allows the turf to meet the water's edge, right? What are the key considerations for integrating turf edge into a pool design? How does that enhance the overall landscape?
Okay, so we do have a turf edge, and that allows the builder to use artificial turf all the way up to that water edge. It's a very cool look. It's a very unique look. Typically, when guys are using that, it's because that particular homeowner they're accustomed to the artificial turf. They want that look. Me as a designer, I never used artificial turf. I was not a huge fan of it. I liked natural products when I was designing, so I try to stay away from it. The problem is you can't bring natural grass all the way up to the water edge. There's just too many issues with that. As I say that, I hear every serviceman in the country hollering at me, you can't do that. I know you can't do that because the first time that has to come weed eat, all of it's in the pool and into the trough.
Yep.
That's just a maintenance nightmare from the start. But secondly, what we've come to learn over the years is we've tried this. We were trying it with stainless steel for a long time. Stainless steel got too hot and burned the grass. And we've tried other things, and there's not a really good product out there that you can put natural grass in that shallow amount of dirt and not have an issue with it. So what tends to happen, because the relative humidity is so much different in that little small area, you end up with a band of grass that's a different color than the rest of the yard. If you're going to have a band of a different color, it needs to be stone, not of grass. So because of that, everybody who's wants to bring grass all the way to the edge like that, they've shifted to artificial turf. Now, luckily, a lot of that technology's changed in the last couple of years, and we've got some really clean looking grasses and artificial grasses that look like real grass. We don't have to worry about how bad those look, and we can integrate them in better. And those are better products too. So our turf plates, we have the ability to provide those. All of ours are fiberglass reinforced concrete. None of them are metal. There's zero metal in any of our system, whether it's turf plates or the zero edge. We want to make sure that was eliminated out. So all of ours are fiberglass reinforced concrete. They are built to withstand the pressures that are around the pool, so that when Johnny is running around the pool, he can still walk there, don't have to worry about it breaking or bending or flexing or anything like that. They're also not metal, so you don't have to worry about him cutting himself on a piece of steel that's there either.
The turf edge look is becoming increasingly more popular look. I've seen a bunch of pools up for awards consideration this year, both down in the Florida market, in the SoCal market, that are using that same distinct look now.
That's right. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of it. And if you walk the floors at the show, there's a lot of manufacturers of artificial turf now. That
Yeah.
whereas 10 years ago, there wasn't any on the floor. They're there and they look good. It's a unique look. It's not for everybody. Every homeowner is going to be different. Every builder is going to be different. They may or may not want it, but we've got a product now that we're able to bring that turf all the way to the water edge and keep it clean. You're not having to glue it down to a piece of stainless steel or anything like that with our product.
Yeah.
So
talk to me about some of your other products. You have the Aqua Spout and the Aqua Spout Pro. What's the difference between those two products and what do they do?
all right. So our Aqua Spout was, like I said earlier, it was our version of the Tishway to allow water to flow through from a raised feature to the lower basin. Over the years, we had to change in it. We added, someone asked, hey, can I put these in a wall? So we added a 1-inch fitting on the back of it. So you could mount them on a wall, run a ball valve from it, and regulate your water on that. You could put a series of those on a wall. As things change, as we've worked on things and R&D, we play with these things all the time. We found a way to baffle the water as it runs through and eliminate some of the velocity there and allow the water to recoagulate together and become laminar. And so now with our Spout Pros, it's a baffled box, and we can put 3, 5, 7 of those Spout Pros on a wall and run a 2-inch line to each one of them with no ball valves. They self-baffle and self-regulate so that you can have all these on the wall and you don't have to have 3, 5, 7 ball valves to regulate them as well. And what's interesting is we've had these going out for several years, and we were talking a year or two ago, looking at them and say, hey, what if we do it this way? And so we decided, let's smash the boxes all together. And can we make a box that's got a number of spouts on it that all spill out? And so now that's our Spout Pro Plus. And on our Instagram, I think maybe 2 months ago, we had a video of one running that we did for a pool builder here in Florida that's got 15 spouts all the way down it. And every single one of them runs at the exact same flow. All 15 of them, not a single ball valve on the entire system, running straight off the pump.
Yeah, I love it. It's a really resort style looking water feature there. And for the new Plus, I can imagine that would be really useful in like commercial applications where those kind of water features are created to create like that Zen environment.
Correct. And when you start talking about the number like that 12, 15, 20 of these in a row, if you got that many ball valves, it's really, even though you can get there, it's really hard to get there. You know what I mean? And then especially if it's got a filter on it, that changes it, because in 6 weeks it fluctuates a little bit and somebody's got to be out there messing around to get them perfect. And we've eliminated that step of having to put all these ball valves and self-regulate it that way. Really cool product that we have coming out. And so these are all ABS, just like our standard product. Everything except for our zero edge and turf plates is built out of ABS. So these are ABS as well, and we paint these to look metal. That's one of the nice things about our product is there's no metal in the wall. Yes, it is a painted piece of ABS on the wall, but a painted piece of ABS is a whole lot easier to fix if it gets scratched than a piece of metal that's in the wall. That if it gets scratched, it's going to start galvanizing and failing. Not to mention, if you have to change it out, that piece of metal, you've got to take down a wall to change it out. Whereas if you just go back and paint, that's a $200 service call to go paint. Homeowners going to be a lot happier at the end of the day with that. ABS is chemically inert. You don't have to worry about your water chemistry messing up what's going on inside of a wall that you can't see. There's a lot of benefits to the ABS, but this whole system, being able to being able to eliminate ball valves, man, I wish I'd had these on some of the features that I did, because I did one a couple of years ago. Actually won an award for it, had 12 1-inch spouts on it. every one of them was ball valved individually, and it was a nightmare trying to get that.
Yeah, I like it's a cool product. The less corrosion points is always a win, right?
Yeah, I was smart enough to put the ball valves within about 3 feet of the wall, so I didn't have to go back and forth to the filter panel.
Well, talk to me about the AquaShear product. It's got a free-flowing, open baffling system. What fabrication practices contribute to that durability, and can you
So
do custom sizes and shapes and things like that?
yeah, absolutely. The aqua shear is the backbone of our entire system and everything that we've come out with, whether it's the shear, the storm, the rain, the wave. All of these products started out of the shear, and those are all iterations of how do we shape the water once it comes out of the system. But yeah, our shear technology is different in a couple ways. First off, I'll say this: all of our products are manufactured here in the United States. We have a facility here in Central Florida. We have men and women that spend every day building these things by hand for us. We water test every single unit before it gets boxed up and shipped to anybody, so we know that it works. Our technology is different in that our baffle doesn't, it's the best way to phrase this. It's probably the least restrictive. It is the least restrictive of any baffle that's out there. So the other baffles that are out there, debris is going to get collected in them. The way the water's running through them is not as efficient. We use a T baffle that's got bigger holes in it that allows more debris to get through it. Now, that being said, yes, debris is going to get stuck at the very end of it because it does go down to an 1/8 inch gap. That's with everybody's. Everything's going to be with that. What you don't have to worry about with our system is that debris getting stuck inside of the body itself. The debris at least will get to the nozzle where you can clean it out. Everybody else's, that's going to get caught inside of it, the baffle, inside of the body, which means a major tear out to replace it when it happens. I've done this a long time as a builder. I've seen it happen. Things get stuck in those pipe. Even with the filter on a system, I've seen debris get through. Keep in mind, service guy goes and opens up the tank to clean his filters, cartridges out, and doesn't clean out the interior entirely. And you get some grass or debris that gets into the lines and gets pushed on through. There's ways to prevent that. And there's still ways, water's still going to push that stuff to the unit. At least with ours, I'm not concerned about any debris getting caught in the baffle. It'll get caught in the nozzle. Like I said, it'll get caught on the pins that are in the nozzle itself that hold it up, keep it supported. But you can always fish that out with a piece of wire. There's several techniques. People have used Sawzall blades, different things that they've used to pull that grass or whatever might be in there. Most of the time, I'll be honest with you, when I see an issue with debris inside of a fixture, it's because they didn't clean up the pipe when they started it up. It's pipe shavings from when they use their Sawzall to cut all their pipe fittings and set everything. Most of the time, it's not because they didn't do the pump and filter right. It's because they didn't have everything cleaned out beforehand before they set the unit. Oh, I cringe every time I see one that's someone's gun night in a pool and the shear is already set in place and ready to go and just covered up and taped. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's no way they've cleaned out the pipe. And I know that all of those joints has been cut with the Sawzall, and all those little shavings are going to go to that unit and get stuck in that nozzle. At least ours is going to stuck in the nozzle. It's not getting stuck in the baffle.
Yeah, that's a good design. You have another great product there that I like, and that's designed for wet walls and rain curtains. I've seen some examples of like chatterfalls and things like that people have done with it. And that's the AquaStorm. Talk to me about that product a bit.
So I'm gonna break that one into two. So we got the AquaStorm and the AquaRain, and they are very close to each other. What separates the two of them, in my opinion, is the AquaRain is always going to have the rain insert nozzles that cause the streams to come down. And then secondly, it's always going to be hung almost independently in a structure, whether it's in a eave of a house or across two columns. Very rarely is a rain set onto a wall or inside of a wall. That's the huge difference between a storm. The storm is always going to be set in a wall, on top of a wall, built on the CMU block, shot into the wall as it's getting put up. And what the storm does, we can put the rain inserts in there, but what the storm and the way it's built is to project the water back onto the wall so that it runs smoothly down the face of it. And typically the way you get your relief is you use different types of, whether it's a tile or stone on that back wall, and that's how you get your texture as it comes down. It gives the look, and the sound comes from it. We do, like I said, we do put the rain inserts onto the storm. And the main reason we do that is to help with the water demand. So in shear technology, and this is standard among all of the manufacturers of shear technology, it's going to require 1 gallon of water per inch of shear, whether it's shear, storm, rain. It's always going to be 1 gallon per inch. So we extrapolate that out. If you're talking about a unit that is 20-foot long, which a lot of wet walls can get that big. I had one earlier this year that was 24-foot long. So you got one that is 20-foot long at 1 inch per foot, or 12 gallons per foot, or one gallon per inch. That's 240 gallons for that 20-foot unit. There's not a lot of pumps on the market that can handle that. That's just straight off the distribution floor. That's going to be a special order, 5 horsepower, 7, something. It's a bigger pump. So what we will do in those situations is we offer that storm with the rain inserts. And when we put the rain inserts, we can cut that water demand in half. So that 240 now goes to 120, which you can get off of a 3 horsepower pump. Also increases the size of the plumbing that's required. You don't need as big of a pipe to push 120 gallons as you do 240. So you're able to drop your pipe size as well and get some savings there. We offer those on the insert on all of our storm units. And most of the time it's dependent on what kind of water demand and what they want for that feature.
I like that. So you don't need a higher diameter pipe. You don't need a crazy high horsepower pump to push that water through.
Yeah, you're able to scale back that hydraulic demand so much when you start putting the rain inserts. And that's why we offer it on the storm, is because of that feature right there. All of our rain curtains have that rain insert on it. We have a single row, we have a double row as well. And each one of those, whether it's single or double, has a different water demand. But when we put that double flow on there, we're able to, we can really cut back the water demand and save pumps and sizes and things like that for builders.
Let me ask you some builder related questions. I'm sure you get these all the time since you do so many Zooms and things like that. But what's the typical lead time for ordering and receiving Great American Waterfall products? Post COVID, are you guys on track with all of your inventory right now?
Yeah, we are. So I'll say this. We are in distribution. Pool Corp, Florida Water, Heritage, Texas Pool Supply, Gorman, Horner Express here in Florida. We're in distribution across the country. Now, whether or not distribution keeps it on their shelves, that's a different story. But they all have the ability to keep it on the shelves for our builders. We keep a good number of standard units in stock at our shop as well. And I'll say this, we consider any shear unit between up to 8 foot to be standard. We may scale that back to 4 foot here in the near future, just because there aren't as many 8-footers and things that are called upon, just because, again, 8 foot's 96 gallons of water. Your standard pool is really not going to have that system built into it. A lot of guys who are using standards are doing them, adding 2 of them to a wall on a regular pool based off the filter pump. You don't really have the water demand for it you're going to have to put a separate pump. So on an 8-footer. So I would say this in general, anything 4 foot or less, absolutely standard. You can get it 3 to 5 days, either through distribution or direct from us. We do sell direct to builder. We always have since 2003 when we started. Most people don't realize that, but if you call us up or email us from our website, you can absolutely talk to us, and we will work directly with any builder with this as well, with any of our products.
If builders want to work with you directly, is there a minimum order quantity, or do you guys offer bulk pricing options?
There is not a minimum order quantity. You need just one, we'll send you one. As far as bulk pricing options go, yeah, absolutely. If you have a need that when you want to keep 10 or 20 of these in your warehouse, yeah, I've got no problem with offering bulk pricing to anybody for that. Going back to the lead times, we're 3 to 5 days on most of our standard stuff. We are a very big custom shop as well. All of our customs are going to take a little bit longer than that. We're looking somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks on most of our custom work right now. And then our Zero Edge product, that one is 4 to 6 weeks lead time on it. A little bit more detail work in that. And then our spouts, I'll mention it too, because you asked about the spouts, and the spout pros are typically about a 3-week lead time on those. Everything except for our standards is pretty much custom built and made to order. Our standards, like I said, standard shears up to 4 foot are in stock all the time. The 5, 6, 7, 8 footers are made to order, but we only takes us about 3 to 5 days on the standard 8-footers to get to us or to get out from us.
We connected back in, I think it was September or August, on a job site that you were doing in Cameron Park, and you were offering on-site installation training and support for a guy who was doing a DIY job out there. Is that common for you guys? Do you typically provide on-site installation training or support for your builders?
For the zero edge and turf edge product, absolutely. In fact, we require an on-site visit for the first installation for any builder. That's just we have found a standard operating procedure for us and for the builder. It just works so much cleaner if I am on site, be that liaison between the installer and the product, because this is something new. They've never seen it. And it doesn't matter how many Zooms I do with an individual or a team, until you see the product and put your hands on it, you really don't grasp it. And so what I found, if I can be on that job site with them on that first visit, that builder is immensely grateful for me to be there. He is thankful that I'm there because he's going to get asked questions by his crew that he doesn't have the answer to. And that means if I'm not there, he's got to FaceTime me or try to get me in a Zoom on the job site to answer his question. And it becomes more stressful. And that's what we're trying to eliminate. We're trying to eliminate that stress off of the builder. And so if I can be there to act as that liaison, we can get it done. And I can get the entire system put in 3 or 4 days if I'm there. If it's a first time install and that builder's trying to do it himself, he's going to get frustrated and not going to be happy with it. And so we do offer the visit for the zero edge and the turf edge as part of our system and our requirements to put it in. Now, we do offer it on subsequent visits. If a builder doesn't feel comfortable doing it and wants me to come in, I would be more than happy to come in and work with his team and work with them again. No problem. I have several builders that do that. Because I know the reality is I see this every day. I get this every day. But most builders, like I said, they might, if they do 5 in their career, that's a good career for most builders to do these exotic edges. So if they're only doing them once every 2 years, I don't expect them to remember. So I'm all for the visit. Hey, man, if you want me to come, we'll come. And this is what it is. And I'm more than happy to go do that. I don't expect them to remember it for 2 years down the road. Now, when it comes to all of our other products, we don't offer on-site installation visits or anything like that. For the most part, we don't really have a lot of paperwork that comes with ours. We don't have an installation manual because shear technology has been out since the late 80s, early 90s. Most guys in the industry have put a shear descent on a wall or hung a rain curtain. Those aren't mind-boggling details to work through like the zero edge can be. So we don't really offer much in that. Now, one thing that we do offer for builders, we have come to the realization that when we start talking about rains and storms, wet walls, things like that, those do have a lot of detail. And so a lot of times what we're doing is as we're being requested for these custom quotes and custom builds, we're drawing the builder into a meeting with our design team, and we're helping them design what they're going to build. So if you've got a rain curtain that you want that's 26 foot long, as a builder, how are you planning on putting that into the structure? How are you going to hold it up? What do you need there? We can modify everything that we do to fit anything that they want. Well, we've got to know. And so we'll bring them into meetings and walk them and help them see what needs to be done. So because we're offering all that kind of upfront as we build, as we modify help, we don't feel the need necessary right now to have paperwork regurgitating what we've already said in these meetings and walkthrough already. So I will say this, that we do have some documentation that will start showing up in all of our product within probably the next 3 to 4 months. We've making some internal changes, some changes in the way we ship out our products and whatnot. And because of that, we're going to start standardizing some paperwork that goes out with everything for builders.
What's it like being on the other side of the table now? Lee, you've been spending years building some pretty awesome pools yourself. You worked on some challenging projects. So it makes sense to me why Great American Waterfall, it's a win for them to bring you in, because you could speak the vernacular with these other builders and the same challenges and frustrations and pain points. But what's it like for you to be on the other side of the table now?
I love being over on this side of it. I wasn't sure how well I would take to it, and there was a little transition. I've always worked in the field. I've always been on a job. I had to be at the office at 6:30 every single day. So working remote, working from a computer, man, that's a big challenge from a guy who's been in boots and mud for 30 years. You know what I mean? So that was a little bit transition, but I really enjoy being here. I've always loved our industry. Like I said, I love what we do. I love the creativity that I see and what we're able to do with water now, and to be able to be on this side of it and to be a help to builders is that's very gratifying to me and satisfying in the things that I do. I love what I do because I'm able to still see some of these things come to fruition. I'm still having my hands in it. I can still go to an install visit and get the itch to put my hands on stuff, and I don't have to take it home at night and sleep with it like I used to, or not sleep with it as it would be some nights and some projects.
I'm glad. So it's great that you were able to connect with me and talk about products today. I've been interested in Great American Waterfalls product lineup for quite some time. So I'm glad you're the one to walk me through it. Glad we got a chance to connect today and really enjoyed our discussion.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was going to tell you now, we've got a few things coming out in the next quarter and a half that I think are going to excite some folks. And some of the things we've got, I'll go and say we have a limited release right now on some lighted shears. We have a Vivid series is what we call it, that has LEDs strips built into it. Like I said, it's limited release right now. You can get them in Florida and Texas are the two markets that we have them in right now. And a few spattered here and there, some builders that we've worked closely with on some other products in the past. We've allowed them to try them out and test them. We're hoping to have that in full release at the beginning of next year as well. We're real excited about that and getting that product out. And we've got a few other things that one of the things that drew me to Great American when I started talking with Chris and who's bringing me on is that we're not afraid of R&D and we're not afraid of innovating. He and I both were builders for a very long time. So we come into this with a different mentality. It's not just, are we making a good product, but are we making a good product that builders want to use and will use and are making their lives easier? There's a lot of things out there that look really cool, but they just don't function. And they're just not, what are they going to look like 8 years down the road? Or once that homeowner's transferred it over to another owner and they're dealing with it and it's a nightmare because the product doesn't work as well. And so we're trying to build things that builders would want to use and trying to make it easier for them I've walked their path. I've been a builder. I've noticed to have homeowners that just beat the crap out of you day in, day out. And sometimes it's hard to find the gratification and the satisfaction in that. But if I can make it easier for them because their products that they're getting from us they know they're going to work. They're not going to have the failures. They're going to look awesome. Yeah, man, we're happy with that. And we're glad to be able to offer that to them.
For sure. Great American has definitely found a passionate brand ambassador in you. That's all the time that we have left for today. Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
You know you could be financing more pool construction projects if your customers had easier access to funds. The potential to increase your number of pool sales would go up dramatically if you could find a way to make that happen. Viking Capital has been helping pool builders connect their customers with the funds they need to build their dream backyard for over 20 years. A reliable and trusted financing partner in the pool industry, we're working with some of the leading builders in the nation to provide their customers with more approvals, lower interest rates, and larger loan amounts. Great communication is also what sets us apart. Our loan status software gives builders real-time reporting on their finance projects. Providing transparency and taking the mystery out of that process is a big part of why we're the partner of choice for pool builders from coast to coast. Want a better financing solution? Schedule a consultation with a Viking Capital representative today.